We're going to look at finding area of a triangle. Alright, so in finding area of a triangle, there are two different formulas that you can use. Your first one can be A is equal to base times height divided by 2, or you could do A is equal to 1/2 the base times height. Either way is going to get you the exact same answer. It's just a matter of personal preference with which you like to use. Okay, so what I think of is if I take a triangle and I put it together, it should make a rectangular shape. So the area of a rectangle is base times height, and now all I'm doing is I'm cutting it in half. So if I have a rectangle, it would look like this. If I cut it in half, I have two triangles, so therefore that's where the half comes into play. In the case of this image, our base is still going to be B, our height is going to be H. And again, look, if you look here, we have our perpendicular line and the line that it is perpendicular with. Those two is what's making up our dimensions that we're going to use in order to find the area. Let's take a look at our first example here. I'm going to list my formula. I'm actually going to show you two different options on how to solve this. They'll both be very similar. In the formula I'm going to use is A equals base times height divided by 2. So if I look here, I have just two measurements are given to me. My base, which is going to be 7. My height, which is going to be 4, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So the first thing that I would do is multiply 4 times 7, which is going to give me 28, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. So when I take 28 and divide that by 2, I'm going to come up with 14. Now you'll notice that there's no label over here on the problem in the triangle. So anytime I don't have any labels, I'm just going to call that units. And then again, you have to remember, area is always going to be squared, so that's going to be to the second power. So that would be my first option. Okay, if I look at my second option, I'm still going to stick with the same formula, base times height divided by 2. And I'm still going to have the same base, and I'm still going to have the same height, so 7 and 4. Now the only thing that I'm going to do differently is I'm going to cross simplify, or basically simplify my even number and divide it by 2. So when I do that, 4 divided by 2 is going to give me 2. 2 divided by 2 is going to give me 1. And then I'm just going to multiply 2 times 7 to give me 14. And I can't forget my label, which is going to be units, and it's going to be squared. 2 times 7 can sometimes be easier for multiplication, so sometimes it's a little bit easier for us to simplify. Obviously on this problem, it doesn't really matter what we do first, but in the end, it can sometimes help us out with doing some mental math. Let's look at a second example. Now if you notice with this second example, we have a lot more measurements that are given to us. So again, we kind of have to stick with our basics. Okay, we're going to look at our base and we're going to look at our height. So again, I'm going to show you two methods. I'm going to write my formula down. A is equal to base times height divided by 2. Just helps me so that I know what I'm substituting in for. Okay, so my base, if you recall, we're going to have that be perpendicular with the 90-degree angle. So 12 is going to be my base, and my height then is going to be times 8, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. So if I multiply my 12 times my 8, that's going to give me 96. I'm going to divide that by 2, so when I take 96 divided by 2, that's going to give me 48, and then I can't forget to do my label of centimeters squared. Okay? So now if I do my second option, I'm going to take my same formula, a is equal to base times height divided by 2, and I'm still going to have the same base, so I'm going to have 12 times 8 and divide that by 2. Now here's where I'm just going to simplify, so I can choose either the 12 or the 8. Either one is even, so it doesn't matter which one I remove from, but I'm going to remove from the bigger number because it's going to give me a smaller number, which is going to be easier for the math part of it. So 12 divided by 2 is going to give me 6. So now I'm left with 6 times 8, which is going to give me 48, which is the same answer as I got before, and it's going to be centimeters squared with our label. So my final answer is 48 centimeters squared. Alright, let's take a look at our last example that we have here. So again, it'd be a good idea for you to pause and check your answer when you're all done here. Alright, so again, I'm going to show you my two options. So a is equal to base times height divided by 2. So when I'm looking here, I have my a is equal to my base, which is going to be with the perpendicular line, so that's going to give me 15. And then I have my height, which is right there, of 6. So I'm going to multiply that times 6, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So I'm left with 15 times 6. Well, if I type that into the calculator, that's going to give me 90, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. So if I take 90 divided by 2, it's going to get me 45. And don't forget my label, which is meters squared. Okay? So now again, if I look at my second option, a is equal to base times height divided by 2. My base is still going to be 15. My height is going to be 6. I'm going to divide that by 2. Now I want to cross simplify. 15 isn't even, but 6 is, so I can simplify with that. So the 2 becomes a 1, the 6 becomes a 3. 15 times 3 I think is a lot easier to do than 15 times 6. So 15 times 3 is going to just give me 45, which is the same answer as I got before, and my label is meters squared. If you have any questions, please feel free to go back and watch the video at any point in time to help you to better understand this.